They were told it wouldn't work. They were told you cannot possibly grow strawberries in Kwa-Zulu-Natal. So they did. After 18 months of full-time research, lots of international travel, the research contradicted conventional wisdom, and for the Gumedes, first-generation farmers, it was time to invest in a dream and trade the office life for sweet pickings of strawberries. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. I'm joined via Skype from KZN by Xolani Gumede, who's the co-owner of Cappeny Estates. Where exactly, Xolani, are Cappeny Estates?
Well, it's actually very close to the N2 if you're coming to Ballito. So if you take the Ballito compensation off ramp, we say 3-4 kilometers from the N2. It's a bit ridiculous how close we are to civilization, and yet we're out in the farm.
So, Xolani, it sounds like the perfect place in the world to grow something sensible like sugar. Is that what the land was used for before?
Absolutely. The first sugarcane farm was actually less than a kilometer from where we are. It started out in the late 1850s. This area is known for pioneering work. You know, the first commercial sugarcane was grown less than a kilometer away, and the first commercial strawberry farm is now where we are. You know, so it's a land of quite a few firsts, if I can call it that.
So what obsessed you to then plant strawberries in KwaZulu-Natal when everybody around you said to you, that is the dumbest idea anybody in a two-tone farmer's shirt has had in a very, very long time?
You know, the funny thing, Bruce, is that they said exactly the same thing about sugarcane, you know. Actually, history will show that when the first sugar was actually then produced, there were skeptics who said, you'll never grow sugarcane profitably in South Africa. And look what happened, you know, a mere 160 odd years later, you know, you got 35,000 odd sugarcane growers. Strawberries obviously are not sugarcane, but the research, you know, strawberries want certain parameters to exist. And if those parameters exist, the strawberries will grow. And those parameters do exist here. So quite frankly, there's no reason other than if the strawberries have something personal against Ballito that they wouldn't grow here.
But strawberries don't know where they grow, so you're okay on that particular front. Give me a sense of it, because strawberries are notoriously fickle plants. They're very vulnerable to pests. They're very vulnerable to weather conditions, all of those sorts of things. So you've obviously got to grow them under very, very controlled circumstances.
That they are. They certainly are. Strawberries are notoriously finicky. They're an apex crop. There are not many apex crops out there in the world, and strawberries are one of them. They require an infinite amount of love and attention. I've spoken to many growers who have been growing strawberries for 3-4 generations, and they all still say the same thing, that you never quite master growing strawberries. It's not something that you can take your foot off the accelerator and say, well, you know what's going on, because there's always something to learn with strawberries. And that in itself is a good thing, because it keeps you on your toes, and it certainly protects your investment, because it's a high barrier to entry. You're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and there's 4 million growers growing strawberries.
I mean, just give me a sense of the capital layout, because you've got these massive plastic tunnels which you've got to construct. You've also then got to ridge up the soil that you will use, the growing matter that you will use for the strawberries too. The plants themselves don't come cheap. And then there's an extraordinary level of upkeep too through the growing cycle.
Yeah, that's true. You know, there's a minimum size that you need in order to make it commercially viable. And through research, we'd say that numbers say about 4 hectares. You know, anything under 4 hectares as a startup becomes non-viable, you know. So with 4 hectares minimum, it definitely means that there's going to be capital expenditure of some extent, because the far removed you are from the natural growing conditions, the more expensive it is to replicate and to control that environment, you know.
But it is through that control of the environment that you get, 1, the quality, and 2, the predictability and reliability of supply, surely.
No, sure, that's certainly the case, you know. With the controlled environment, you are able to do those things. You are able to manipulate factors, but to a certain extent, you know, Mother Nature, if there's a drought, there's a drought. And unless you have your own private dam or waterfall that nobody knows of that can suddenly just spring a whole lot of water for you, you're also bound by what Mother Nature dishes out.
So how many crops have you harvested then? Because you started this in what, 2013, or was it 2014?
We started in 2013 and we've been harvesting since. We haven't stopped. Obviously, we've got our in-season and out-of-season crop production. And in-season, which basically runs from the end of May till, say, mid-November, we've got quite a bit of strawberries. And then from mid-November to, say, end of April, beginning of May, it's out of season. So the volumes drop down significantly. But we've been harvesting from the get-go. We haven't stopped, and we've been quite fortunate that whilst we're learning, we've been able to keep the ship afloat, so to speak.
Now, the strawberries are notoriously seasonal, like most fruits are, of course, very seasonal crops, but you get 12 months worth of picking courtesy of the artificial environments you create?
Largely true based on that statement, but also the choice of crop the choice of variety, as they call it. Strawberries, there's over 800 varieties, basically 800 types of strawberries. And there are two broad categories, those that grow in season and those grow all year round. And you got to select the right variety for your environment. And also within those varieties, there are varieties which prefer early summer to midsummer to late summer, early winter, mid-winter to late winter. So your options out of 800, that is your first major risk hurdle you got to get through. Choose the right variety and then make sure that you're able to keep steering the ship whilst going forward.
Do you have any agricultural background whatsoever? Or are you one of these guys who went into banking or you went into private equity and then you decided, no, you need a little bit of soul, you need a little bit of fresh air in your lungs?
And I must say, I came with zero background near zero background. I did a short course in greenhouse farming and hydroponic farming in 2009, but really there all you get are just the headings. You don't get any in-depth knowledge or experience or expertise. What I've acquired since then is based purely down to research, personal research, and investing a whole lot of time in the field and basically learning as one goes along. I can proudly and comfortably call myself a farmer because I think over the last 3-4 years I've been doing this. I've been doing only this, and it's well and truly the bug has bitten. I'm a farmer.
What were you doing before?
I was a project manager. I actually didn't only just practice as a consultant, but I taught project management as well, construction project management for that matter. Very fortunate. I traveled extensively throughout the country, throughout the continent and the world doing project management, and then evolved and got into property development. That led to identifying the piece of land that we're on. And once I identified this land, one couldn't sit on it and investigate what to do with it, and that one thing led to another, and here I am today talking to you as a farmer.
Now, it's a piece of land, what, about 16 or 17 hectares in extent, and right now, as I understand it, 4 hectares of that under strawberry cultivation.
Yeah, 17.8 hectares. We've now expanded the 4 hectares to 6.5. We've been able to open up a section for planting straight into the ground, and also it broadens our appeal to the market. Not only do we service the retail market, but we also allow people to come and pick at the farm, have that pick your own experience. It's proven very popular. We had our inaugural Pick Your Own festival last year, September. We're going to hold it every year, last Saturday of September. And we had over 6,000 people come. And it was due to the increase, the additional 2,500 hectares. Immediately, we had equal largest Pick Your Own area in the country, And I think this year as well, people can look forward to it. So if you're looking for something to do with the kids end of September, last Saturday of September, we certainly are going to be putting on quite a show.
Well, when it comes to risk, however, they say never put all your eggs into one basket. You're putting all your strawberries into one patch. If you do get a problem coming through, whether it be cutworm or whether it be hail or whether it be something like that, you're prone to some fairly strong winds from time to time in that part of the world. How much trouble would you be in?
Oh, we'd be in a heap of trouble. We really would, But there's certain things that you trade off, You either, as I say, you're either the fox or the hedgehog, If you are an all-rounder like the fox, you can run around and know quite a bit about everything. The hedgehog, you can't beat it at its game, And strawberry farming is not for the faint-hearted. It certainly requires full-on attention. Most farms that haven't succeeded are those where people have split their attention, you know. It's a decision. It's a key decision and a risk that either pays off handsomely at the end or you lick your wounds. And we've taken the one of investing a whole lot of time and effort and, in essence, putting all our strawberries into one pack. It is a dangerous risk. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but when you do get to know what you're doing, you tend to be a groundbreaker and a pioneer in a way that nobody else can match you.
Well, I know that you're a farmer because you've got extraordinary levels of faith in the fact that everything will be fine. Otherwise, farmers would never put another seed into the ground if they didn't believe it. What is the potential growth that you've got in this business?
Bruce, we're in the hope business, you know. If you don't have hope or any shade of faith, you can forget about farming. Well, what's the point? You know, you don't know what tomorrow holds, and you gotta just hope that it's going to be better than what yesterday was, and it's going to give you the fruits that you're looking for, the yields you're looking for.
So how much expansion have you got? You've got 6 hectares under cultivation. Is all of the 18.5 hectares, is it suitable for cultivation? You need a couple of tracks for the tractors to run up and down, of course. But could you extract more from this piece of land?
Well, I think the max we'll get to, will say, be about 9 hectares. You know, we do have other plans for the farm. We've already started moving into agro-processing. So basically, we taking fresh strawberries and value adding those, creating pulp for juice, creating pulp for jam, and so on and so forth. And the yogurt industry, the dairy industry has been quite supportive. So there are bigger plans than just farming fresh strawberries. Yes, strawberries are the central theme, but we are looking to expand and have a lot of byproducts as a result of the strawberries. Eventually, the fresh strawberries may only amount to, say, 50% of our revenue in time, you know.
Yeah, but it's about that de-risking, isn't it? Just give me one last. If I put a bowl of strawberries in front of you, would you be sick? Because a lot of people, the cobbler's children have got no shoes. Are you one of those guys who's just had enough of your own product? You're very happy to see it all leave the farm?
Let's just say that the intake has come down dramatically in the last 3-4 years. We also have grenadilla, by the way, on the farm as of last year. Not for sale commercially, but we're trialing it out, and it's doing quite well. And I've been eating that like I used to eat strawberries 4 years ago. So I think that says quite a bit.
Well, you're going to need to keep on innovating. Xolani Gumede, what a lovely story. The co-owner of Cappeny Estates, right near Belito. And you can go pick your own as well. Thank you at home for watching. And thank you very much to you, Xolani, for joining us this evening. All the way from the farm where he grows strawberries. And just to keep his palate fresh, a couple of granadillas as well. That's it from the Moneymakers for this evening. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, happy eating.